So how do we go about joining the top and base and the fixed centre shelf to the sides of this carcass? Well, normally I'd be reaching for my domino mortiser and popping in some loose tenons, but obviously that's out of the question for budgetary reasons. I prefer to keep the sides of the carcass unblemished for a sprayed job, so I'm going to be using some dowels, just 8x30mm dowels. You don't need anything fancy to use a dowel, just a drill and an 8mm bit. Obviously, if you're happy filling and sanding holes in the sides of your carcass, then by all means pop a couple of nails in, a couple of screws, whatever you like, but I prefer to keep them clean and blemish free, and that's what we're going to do now. I've taken an offcut from the carcass side and I'm marking the dowel positions by eye, and then the centres using a scrap of 9mm, and I'm drilling an 8mm hole straight through, keeping it perpendicular with the old cotton reel trick. Next I'm fitting an end stop made from a scrap of MDF, and then some top stops just for good measure. And checking them against the carcass just to be sure. I'm setting a depth mark on the drill bit with tape, then we get to try it out for real. First on one end, then flipping the workpiece around to do the other, making sure that I'm always referencing off the same edge. With the carcasses snug together and the centres marked, I can drill into the sides, remembering as before to flip the jig so that we reference off the same front edge. When it comes to drilling for the centre shelf, the top stops need to come off. And once I've figured out where my hands need to be, I can drill them out. So yeah, a bit of an occupational hazard with dowels. We're doing this kind of freehand drilling. The tape on the which is marking the depth sort of wears away and you end up going slightly deeper. And I've actually punched through in a couple of places, and you can see a couple of little pinpricks of where the brad point of the drill bit's gone through as well. So a little bit of repair work to do there. Only on a couple of them, but you know, if you've got to fill a couple of them, I might as well have screwed them all together and done with it, but there we are. So yeah, I'm popping a couple of little dowels in, just shallowly. I can trim those off. And then sand it back, and then just put a little dab of 2-pack filler on the top of those. Then we can flip them over and get the shelf pinholes in. The shelf pin holes, yeah, right way around. With the repairs made and the filler setting, I'm trimming back the fixed centre shelf to match the depth of the adjustables. Then sanding back the filler to make a hopefully invisible repair. Alright, so running repairs completed. Shelf pin holes. No fancy LR32 festival system here, obviously way too expensive for this. So back to the old school system which I had before, which I used for years and years and years, and it worked really well. It's a simple shelf pin drilling jig. I got this one from Rutland's. They don't make this one anymore, they don't stock it. There's lots of this type of thing around though. Just be careful, a lot of them are US centric, so they'll come with a 1/4 inch self-centering bit. That's about as useful as a chocolate teapot in Britain. You need a 5mm self-centering bit. And I got the Trend Snappy one. The jig itself is about 25 quid. I think they're around about 30 now. And the Trend Snappy drill bit is about 22, 25, something like that. Critically, it's a 9.5mm outer, so it fits the jig perfectly, and it gives you a 5mm self-centered hole. Now the jig itself puts the holes in at a 37mm distance, which is the standard LR32 sort of thing. That's actually a bit too far in for these shelves because they're only 150mm deep, so I've just double taped a little bit of 9mm scrap in there to set those back a little way, and we'll just butt that up against the base of the side, and we'll pop a clamp on there just to stop it twitching around at all while we do this one. And yeah, so basically 2 long rows of holes, top and bottom, left and right. A lot of drilling to do. No fun whatsoever. But you know, it's the cheap and easy way of doing shelf pin holes, and it does work very well. It's just a bit time consuming. Then once you've done one template's worth, I use a little 5mm drill bit to lock that into place. With an existing hole, and then you can carry on, and you know they're all in sync.
There's no shortcut to this, it's just slow, methodical, tedious work.
Halfway through, 96 pinholes in each side. That Festool rail with the holes in it doesn't seem so expensive now. Okay, so there we go, 184, 92 in each side. 184 shelf pin holes drilled in about 35-40 minutes. Look at the mess it makes as well. All that spoil. I tend to forget about all that because it gets hoovered away normally with the Festool system, but there we are. You know, the Festool holy rail thing seems like really good money, really good value just now. But entirely doable even on a long run like this. I've just realised I missed one off there as well. Damn, I'll have to do that one again. But yeah, I was going to do sanding, but that'll wait till tomorrow because it's late enough and I've got other things to do. So back tomorrow for a bit of hand sanding.